Fortnite is officially gearing up for the Showdown event, and by watching this video, you're going to find out what's closing in on the island and uncover bone-chilling secrets. The second season storyline is all about the Dark Voyager saga. That's what the folks at Epic are calling the whole Chapter 7, which means Cubehead is sticking around till at least September. To finally shut him down, Jones and Hope are getting the Seven back together again. The Order, the Visitor, and the Foundation are already on the island. Right now, they're hunting for the Origin, the Scientist, and the Paradigm. It looks like this whole season is going to be focused on two major things: getting the 0 Point back in action, and rounding up the Seven. There's one big ice-cold wildcard though, and that's the Ice King, who's going to be throwing serious wrenches in the works. Data miners have already dropped the scoop that we're getting a full-blown, huge event at the end of the season, which is June 5th. The fact that the season wraps up on a Friday, when we usually get a seriously massive event, is another major hint. Plus, there are a ton of clues pointing to an absolute cinematic blowout. I could totally break down all those story bits, so smash that like button if you're down for it. Now, if you head back into the snowy biome, just west of the castle, you can find the Dark Voyager's favorite build kit, a 0 Point shard. There are 3 of these shards scattered across the island. One at the Ice King's castle, one in Squibbly Shores, and one in the Grove by New Sanctuary. Each one messes with reality, giving you different effects. In the winter biome, it freezes your feet. At the shores, it lowers gravity. And in the Grove, it gives you 0 Point dash charges. And of course, you can use any of these shards as a rift. By the way, there's a cool Easter egg right near that shard. Ever played curling? If not, now you can do it right in Fortnite. Though for some reason they've got cones instead of stones here. If anyone knows what the deal is with that, enlighten me. So, the goal is to land that cone right in the bullseye, and you'll get a whole mess of loot for it. So, is it worth the grind for that not-so-great loot? Personally, I doubt it. But if the storm isn't breathing down your neck, it's a cool one-time thing to try. The Ice King's snowstorms also hit Latte Landing, where the locals are now bundling up big time. The lake, which used to be a literal drain for gallons of coffee, has frozen over, so the people there have a new jam: ice fishing. Honestly, I like the spot way better this way. Meanwhile, at Sauce Studio, digging has suddenly started, and what the excavators uncovered there totally freaked me out. Who would have thought there was a massive hidden flying saucer under the island all this whole time? Most likely that weird studio is filming another episode of their banger series about Peelians. The biggest clue is the banana sitting in the UFO's cockpit, or more accurately, its peel. But this map change could be way deeper than it seems at first glance. And here's what I want to know. How many V-Bucks did they pay that banana for its role as an extra? They pay them in V-Bucks, right? Back to the second location of the 0 Point shard, the Squibbly Shores. The place seriously gives off that Chapter 2 beach vibe. Maybe it's the sheer number of seafood restaurants proudly displaying the head of our old pal Rat. Wait, my bad, I meant Fish Stick. And they are, to put it mildly, not happy with Fish Stick here. You can tell from all the signs and billboards. If you're out of the loop on why, honestly, he deserves it. Due to Fish Stick's seriously shady move at the end of last season, when he ratted out the location of his home universe to the Dark Voyager, Cubehead was able to port a shard over to our island. This totally stripped the locals of their most vital resource: water. So now, all the local restaurants mainly specialize in cooking up fish sticks. Seems fair to me. What do you think? While you could argue Fish Stick didn't have a choice, things have gotten so bad, they even have a factory here that makes rectangular fish stick. Yep, that's how the locals blow off steam. By the way, right on the counter here, you can find free fish of various types that have been missing for, 8 seasons? You can thank Fish Stick for bringing the fish back by hitting the like button. You can also spot a statue of the village's founding father, and it looks like this distant relative of the Squibbly might show up later as a new skin. Overall, the Squibbly Shores is a huge fishing village, and its main claim to fame is a massive lighthouse that gives you a view of the entire location. It also hides one of the new season secrets. If you manage to fish a keycard out of a special spot around the lighthouse, you can snag some fat loot right at the start of the match. In the southwest section, our old buddies, the Corals, are chilling out in their castle with a spa. Right next door, a gnome and U-bot party is going down. It's nice to see some familiar faces, right? On the absolute furthest western edge of the spot, looking totally exiled and punished, stands the legendary Fish Stick restaurant. A dialogue with Fish Stick makes it clear that after his kidnapping and interrogation, Dark Voyager wiped his memory. He has no clue that all the locals are totally out to get him. And I'm afraid if he actually decides to swim over and say hi, we might never see him again. Ruins of the Coral Fortress from Chapter 2 are scattered throughout almost the entire biome. Man, so much water has passed under the bridge since then, both literally and figuratively. And here's the culprit for all this chaos, one of the 3 0-point shards. I don't know about you, but I think this spot is a solid A+. The remaining 2 locations are mostly just reworks of old ones. Voyager has completely taken over the Lethal Lab, turning it into his personal headquarters. So now it's called the Dark Dominion. Cubehead got style, you have to admit. He also looks like he spent a ton of V-Bucks on spreading his cubic propaganda. There are posters and billboards all over the spot, urging people to join the Voyager crew. I especially love the one where he tells us, "Be grateful, because it could have been worse." Is that, like, a shot at Epic? Is he the one who's going to break the news about V-Buck price hikes? It sure looks like it. And seriously, is there anyone out there who actually supports Cubehead? It's clear that Voyager is planning to fully reassemble the 0 point. To do that, he's upgraded the shard containment device and put up extra panels and some kind of alien antennas all over the location, probably to get a better signal to other realities. But Voyager himself isn't home yet. Judging by the rift above the station, he's off searching for the final 7th 0-point shard. And so his place doesn't turn into a total free-for-all. He left his Echo, who's become the local boss. This part-time security guard can summon some seriously annoying combat drones. Good thing they're lacking in the aim and brainpower departments. To stand a chance against the alliance between the Voyager and the Ice King, we're gonna need some allies too. Trying to track down the rest of the 7, with an assist from this alternate version of the Visitor. That's exactly why they can't go head-to-head just yet. They are seriously lacking the manpower. Meanwhile, the Voyager has been hopping through different key realities, snatching up fragments of the 0 point. It definitely looks like he's trying to rebuild it, but he's doing it completely his own way. After freezing the entire island, the Ice King somehow made it over to the Golden Coast, which is the island from the regular Battle Royale mode. This is huge because it officially connects both game modes in a way that is way more concrete than anything we've seen before. Speaking of which, we got this icy biome with castles and all that, which obviously belongs to the Ice King. We see him strolling down a hallway full of incredibly powerful living beings, to put it lightly. It's still up in the air if this is the OG Ice King we've always known, or an alternate version. He's rocking a different skin and look, but it could easily just be the same guy with a fresh coat of paint. Either way, his overall mission seems identical. If you remember, the Ice King was never actually a villain in the lore. The Marvel comics completely cleared his name. His whole vibe was just freezing any artifact or living thing from any reality that posed a massive threat or held too much power. He was never loyal to the Imagined Order or the Seven, he just operated on his own terms. But this specific version of the Ice King might actually be evil by nature. If he ends up teaming up with the Voyager, it's either because he's entering his villain era, or maybe this new version of the Seven are actually the bad guys this time around. There are a ton of possibilities on the table. Next up, we catch a glimpse of the Prisoner, specifically his original version. That tracks, considering they used to be allies from different kingdoms, even though the Prisoner was always obsessed with tweaking realities using universal artifacts. The last time we saw the OG Prisoner was also in the Marvel comics, where he ended up frozen underwater again. But if he's here now, how is the OG mode storyline going to work? Next season, Season 8, is incredibly important because he's the one who summons the volcano and wakes up the Devourer. My bet is that at some point next season, the Prisoner is going to find a way back to the OG island to make all of that happen. We also have Aurelia in the mix, who is related to Marigold, or basically her undead version. Normally I'd think they just drop that skin in for the aesthetic, but with how much lore Fortnite is packing into this chapter, Aurelia might actually be super relevant next season. She's essentially a guardian against Tomb Raiders. That makes total sense, because if the Ice King is out here freezing artifacts and beings, he'd definitely have to cross paths with the Guardian protecting them. There's also another Captain America skin, though I don't think there's insanely deep lore there. It's probably just flexing a new look for a character whose whole brand is being frozen for ages and waking up as a man out of time. And finally, after all this waiting, we get the Foundation. He's back in different armor, rocking a silver suit and a leather vest. The big question is whether this is our Foundation or an alternate version from the new 7. Since the alternate visitor has a totally different helmet design, and the Foundation still has his classic visor, it's probably our guy. Those visor symbols are basically their ancestral branding. It's how you verify the original. But why is he frozen? If you look super closely, he's frozen mid-fight. He was definitely throwing down with someone, maybe even the Ice King himself. They used to see eye to eye on the 0 point, so it's wild that they'd be rivals now. I'm guessing that if the Ice King is evil now, it's the fallout from the 7 failing to free the 0 point from the imagined order, which obviously brought a wave of terrible consequences. Since Season 2 is titled Showdown, we are clearly getting a massive clash between factions. I personally think the Ice King will step up as a third faction, meaning the core season is going to be a massive three-way war. The 7 versus the Dark Voyager versus the Ice King. Every Season 2 in Fortnite history has been heavy on faction wars, and they are famous for being straight up peak in terms of gameplay and lore. This time will definitely be no exception. I am genuinely loving how fast and consistent the story pacing is right now. Back in the day, we would have waited multiple seasons just to see a spaceship land, but now it feels fast-paced without feeling rushed at all. Taking all this into account, here is my main plot prediction. The Dark Voyager's constant reality hopping and hoarding of 0 point fragments has seriously ticked off the rulers of those realities. Now, they've tracked him all the way to Golden Coast to take back what he stole. Everyone wants a piece of that power. So we are looking at all the factions on the island, fighting a massive free-for-all brawl for those fragments. All of this chaos is happening right as it collides with OG Mode's Season 8, and the entire thing is going to climax with the Devourer waking up. I'll throw out a few more rapid-fire predictions before we wrap up. I think the Ice King is finally getting voice lines, and the link between Battle Royale and OG is going to be permanent and game-changing. We probably won't see all of the 7 return until Season 3, and Marvel will absolutely shoehorn some lore in using that new Steve Rogers skin. Midas is almost guaranteed to show up since he practically lives for Season 2's. On the flip side, I highly doubt the Imagined Order will make an appearance right now, since they didn't even show up until Chapter 2 Season 5 anyway. They are definitely saving them for later. Epic is taking the story in such a massive direction by bringing back these high-potential characters. If you vibe with this content, definitely show some love by using the super powerful code PUNKED in the Fortnite item shop. I'll leave you full trailer's breakdown in case you missed it. This trailer is all about the lore, featuring the Cube Head who's currently hunting for the 0 point shards. That's why we're seeing this villain crew square off against the 7, who are slowly but surely making their way back to the island. The trailer kicks off with a bang inside the Voyager's ship. We've seen it from the outside all season, but this is the first time we've gotten a peek at what's inside. It could even be a new location for Season 2, which would be totally sick. As we already know, Dark Voyager has been working with the Last Reality since the start of the season. Just like back in Chapter 2 with the Cube Queen, they've got an army of soldiers, the Elite Intruders, who actually dropped as skins ages ago. These guys are basically small Kevin-style cubes wearing humanoid armor, which we know from the second style of those skins. A small detail that's easy to miss is that they're gold, which suggests they're higher rank than the Chapter 2 versions, and will probably be a new style that gets added at the start of Season 2, though I hope they aren't a separate skin. I'm also betting there'll be rival bots that pop up to defend their boss, the Dark Voyager, and hopefully they'll all be chilling inside the ship. Their weapons actually look like 2 new Season 2 guns, and while they seem similar, one has a strap and a llama sticker, and the other doesn't. Now that we've checked out the army, the million-dollar question is why Fishstick has so much knowledge. The Voyager has him kidnapped, trying to squeeze out the location of the 0 point shard. My first thought was that Fishstick was like the Peely from Chapter 5, super knowledgeable, and that's why they snatched him. But the most obvious answer is that this fish stick is originally from Reality 7021, which is where a 0-point shard ended up. While the Voyager searches for this reality on his screen, we can see a ton of interesting details, like how the fish shares DNA with regular fish and that they all come from the same reality. On the fragment screen, we see 3 of 7. That last number is probably the total number of shards scattered across the universe, and this one is either the 3rd they've counted or the 3rd one they're missing. As for the lighthouse blueprint, anyone paying attention to the story has already clocked that it's the same one we saw on the loading screen, which means we still have 2 more spots to travel to. One of them is the ice castle, which they showed in first trailer, and while the fragment wasn't in that video, the screen confirms it's there. The other spot looks like a desert or something. The last screen shows the Slurp sprites who arrived in Fortnite Chapter 6. In the next scene, the ship jumps to the new reality where the new Battle Pass skin is fishing. This is where the ship starts to suck up everything below it, which is Coral Castle. This location first appeared in Chapter 2 Season 3, but it looks like it's native to this world, and its inhabitants are all aquatic skins we've already seen in the game. Plus, there are several disguised Joneses who have somehow learned to breathe underwater. The trailer wraps up with the new skin landing on the ship, and the Voyager orders his soldiers to grab the squid, while he gets mad at Fishstick for ratting out where they were. That's how the new character gets to our reality and island, but theoretically, they'll be trapped by the Voyager. So, we'll have to see how they explain the breakout in the upcoming videos. I'll give you my theory right now. One of those soldiers is actually Hope, or another good guy who's currently undercover in the Dark Voyager's army. That would explain why one SMG has a llama sticker and the other doesn't. It makes more sense than them being 2 different guns, though I wouldn't rule that out. I'm also fairly sure both the new skin and fish stick will be NPCs next season, since the video ends with a message that the fish stick will return. Oh, and everyone already knew this was a Marvel reference, but with this second scene, literally copying what they did in the first trailer, and what Marvel does with every trailer, it's 100% confirmed that they're pulling a Doomsday. I've already shared my theory that it would be awesome if we saw Marvel characters pop up over the next few months, leading to a collaboration in December when the movie comes out, maybe even another season or a mini-event with Marvel. The biggest question after seeing this trailer is whether Coral Castle will make it to the island. Everything suggested that the 3 zones with a fragment would be the new locations for Season 2. But now, after seeing this trailer, I've got my doubts because the area just seems to get drained of water, and that's it. Still, I figure the 3 zones will somehow be generated based on the image. So if I had to put money on it, I'd say yes, Coral Castle is coming next season. Circling back to the trailers, these aren't coming out randomly. They're following the end of season teaser that Fortnite posted a few days ago, the one right here. We've already gone through several phases. The March 9th and March 12th teasers are the 2 trailers we've seen, and the March 7th and 8th ones were the in-game